Good morning, good morning. Oh, it's been storming here all morning. Woke me up a couple of times early. Hey Jamie, hey Sue, can y'all hear me? Good morning, Gerald. Good morning, Louise. I'm just tweaking a few things here. Good morning, Lorraine. Good morning, Chai. You guys don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you give your thumbs ups. Good morning, Charmaine. Yay! Yeah, I finally figured out how to get it to tell when we have new subscribers and all of that stuff. And I had it off center at the last one, so I'm trying to tweak a few things and make sure that it's working right every time now. For some reason, um, OBS just stretched it really huge, so when they subscribed, it didn't show. It was in the just a piece of it in the corner. So I think I fixed it now. Yay! Okay, let's see. We have about 3 more minutes. Let me go in and make sure that I tell the big groups that we are live so they will know. Because they don't get an email like my patrons do, and they don't get the post like the Ko-fis do. Uh, there's one. And two. I'll go ahead and put it in the other two as well. Why not? It won't hurt. Uh, Hi, Debbie. Good morning. Okay, that's done. Let me play the intro, guys, and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay. Um, as you know, I just showed an ugly craft brown box yesterday, but we can always dress up the craft board to look good. And this was just my mock-up. For those of you who did not see it, I'm going to go ahead and let me get my paper up here. I'm trying not to bend it. The explosion tower box. Bonnie Branda sent me a video to a already made product and asked if we could do something like this. And I told her I didn't think I could do it before Father's Day because I had to research and find out how it went together. Because I really liked the way that it did. It looked sturdy. And in my research, I found several videos, but they were all really flimsy, except one. And I believe that was by Gear It Up. So I went by the way they put theirs together, and I had to change mine up because their box was huge. I think the base was like 12 inches across or something like that. I don't really know. They were in centimeters and everything else. So I like the idea of the way that they put theirs together, even though she went about it kind of funky, putting it together, and I was like, why isn't she just doing this? So I decided that I would show you guys the easiest way to put it together instead of the way that they put it together. And theirs is a little different because they are cutting theirs professionally, and they are also just selling like a finished product for you to put your photos on. And they weren't cheap, guys. They were like 50 bucks and 99. I don't know what an RM is, but it was 99. And so I was like, you know, that's nuts. So I said, we can make that smaller and make it work, and it will be just fine. So that's what I did. And we got super, super, super lucky, and I forgot to get my card. Anyway, I know that a gift card will fit in here, and it's just by sheer coincidence because I didn't check it until about 11 o'clock last night. So when you pull the lid off, you get the explosion, and here you have 18 places to put photos and more if you want to put them on the underneath side, and you can put them on the sides of the box here. Now, I will tell you, in the file, I did not include a template for you to put your photos on here because I did not want to bog down this big file. I will go in and show you guys how to do that and decide what size photos you need to cut for what areas here in just a minute, so that you will know. And then you can do a separate file, write down your measurements, do a separate file, and cut all the photos that you need. That way you're not bogging it down, because by the time that you import your photos and make them to a certain size for print and cut or whatever it is that you do, this file probably isn't going to open and cut because it's pretty big. There's a lot in it because there was a lot of slicing and all that in the background and tweaking, and I tried to keep it to a minimum by using a ready-made file from Design Space for the lids, and that was my thinking behind it. Maybe it wouldn't bog it down so much if I didn't have to slice all the lids up to make those, because you can only allowed, Jamie, correct me, is it 100 slices in a file, or is it 99, something like that? Once you get to that, it will corrupt the file and you can't use it. So I tried to avoid that. So take that lid off, and like I said, you got a pocket on each of the 6 things. Guys, what about like a wedding or a shower where they do the advice notes? How cool would this be to do several tiers of just advice notes? Because you can swap out the tiers, you just have to size them. I did the tiers differently, but you can put this as your tier for all 3 tiers if you want. I thought that would be really cute, and then they could write on all the others if you just did these. Put gift cards in them for a shower. If they're registered at 2 or 3 places, you could give them a gift card for each one of the places. Tons of things. Through the years for anniversaries. Start at the bottom with and work up, you know. Graduations through the years, where you can start with their kindergarten photos and baby photos and go up from there. Be super cool. So tons of things you guys can do with this. So then you take the second lid off, and you have the little gift box. Now guys, you can swap this gift box out. This is one that was already made in Design Space. Again, I was trying to keep all the slicing and welding in the file down. So yeah, there you go, Jamie. I knew it was something 12 layers before it'll lock up in mobile versions. So that's why there's some ready-made pieces in this file. So if you don't have access, you're going to be prompted to buy these files, or either you can swap them out with something else. But I really love this little box. It looks like a flower, and I think it looks super cool sitting in there because it will bounce a little bit. So that's what you're going to put your actual gift in, or candies, whatever, your surprise. And then there's a handle that is floating on, and you're just going to pull it straight up. And when you pull it straight up, and I've been playing with this, so I've loosened it up quite a bit, you're just going to pop down all of those, and then all of these will contain photos as well as your photos on the side, or you can just do decorative panels. You do not have to do photos. You can do anything you want in this, guys. So tons of things that you can do. Good morning, Sue. Not enough envelopes for all your years, Lorraine. Mine either. So, but you have 6 of the little pockets. You can put trinkets in here, but if you put trinkets in there, keep in mind you've got to close this up for this lid to fit on. And if your trinkets are too thick, then you're going to bow this side, and then you may have to change out your lid for a deeper lid if you do that. So just keep that in mind when you're putting little inserts in there. This lid is meant for it to be uptight with gift cards. If you're adding a bunch of trinkets or making it thick and it's bowing a little bit, swap out your lid for a deeper rim. It doesn't have to be any bigger in the octagon, but you'll need to go maybe an 1.5 inches on your depth of your rim, okay? And there are boxes in Design Space that have those, and just pick one. So just keep that in mind when you're designing your box. So I'm just going to set this to the side, and I am going to flip this over because I cut mine in tiers, and we're going to go over that right now. So let's go over to Design Space, and I'll tell you guys how I cut it, and then we'll get to putting it together. Let's see here. Here we go. Should be up on your screen now. Now, mine is going to look a little bit different. If you opened it up and you got the file and it looked all discombobulated like this, I apologize. I was talking to Sue and Jamie and them, and I said, oops, I forgot to attach those so that it cut in the minimal sheets of paper possible. So I went back and did it in yours. I did not do it in mine, so your file looks all nice and neat, but it still has the same pieces. First of all, I would suggest that you cut this in sections so you don't get confused. And what I did is I selected everything except the base layers. I grouped it and I hid it. I hid that group. Well, I just missed the whole group. There we go. I hid the whole group, and then I just cut this portion. So I ungrouped this, and the base layer, there's no way to get more than, it takes 4 sheets to cut it, period. There's no way around it. So what I did is I cut these 3 pieces out of one color of cricut paper because I wanted to test the cricut paper versus the craft card stock and how well it held up and if it was sturdy enough. Because we're about to find out if you can use 80 or you have to have 110. So far 110 is perfect for it. So we're going to see what we can get away with. How low can we go? So if you're cutting from pattern paper, these 2 pieces, this piece doesn't really matter because you can just flip it over. And probably these 2, but I did cut these face down with my pattern paper, just like you would your iron-on, but I didn't mirror it. So I just put my paper face down for these and cut those 2 pieces so that my pattern was not showing when it cut. After those cut, I came back and I hid these, and then I cut the next section. And then I cut the next section so I could keep them separated until you've put one or two together. I would do that so that you can keep the layers separated, because there's not a lot of size difference between layer 2 and layer 3. So make sure that you cut them separately, or either you cut them after you've cut them, that you keep them separate so you know which layer that you're working on. It will just make it easier for you guys. Let me bring that down. Maybe if I group that, that would be easier. There we go. So then we have the rest of it. And again, just do it the same way. On this one, I cut, I don't need that. These pieces are important here, and yours are going to look different. Mine are just put together on the screen to kind of show a guide. These pieces, yours are all arranged, okay, into an 11 by 11 and a half square so that it will cut on a sheet of paper and save you the most amount of paper, because it was on like 18 sheets and then I got it down to 15 sheets, and then once I did this I got it down to 13 sheets. So it takes 13 sheets of paper to cut it, 4 of them for the base, and it took me a total of 38 minutes to cut it in fast mode on the maker. So just so you know, it's going to take a little time to cut. But just again, yours are all grouped together. Just cut them. These pieces, everything that contained these pieces I cut face down, so that my pretty side was down because of the way they fold. I don't think it matters, but I didn't test it. So, but you have all these pieces in a file, and so let's go over and start putting it together. Here we go. So here are my base pieces, and again, I said there were 4. I'm going to keep everything together. And this is the main base, okay? And all you're going to do is fold it on the scores, and you can see why I cut this face down, but this one won't matter. This piece doesn't matter because you can fold it either way. And you're just going to fold all 6 on all of your score lines upward. And that's it. Then you're going to take these 2 pieces, and you're about to see why I cut them face down. These go together exactly the same. You're going to fold inward on the 3 scores. I know I have some glue. There it is. I had to get a new bottle this morning. And then once you've folded those, you're going to fold on the score here and here. And then you're going to apply glue or your tearing tape, whatever it is, red line, whatever it is you like to use. I'm using art glitter glue. You can get that at artglitter.com. And then you're just going to glue that. And we got really, really lucky. It's perfect size for a gift card. And I know there's showing a little bit of edge on this one. I had a tiny edge on this one too. If it bothers you, you can trim that off. It didn't bother me because I wanted it to, when the box was closed up, I've got it open now, but when the box was closed up, I wanted it to look, you can see how the sides of these look. I wanted it to look like it was a solid box. I didn't want it to look like it had the gaps in it. I didn't want to give away that it was an explosion box. So I got it as tight as I could possibly get it by doing this. And let me just show you what I mean. That way any of the little gaps in there You can see I haven't put any trinkets in mine. They line up pretty good, except where I've been playing with it and squishing them down to see how far they would squish before they popped out of the lid. So I wanted to keep those gaps to a minimum, and those kind of helped hide any gaps in there from this layer in case it was off slightly. That way it helped. So you're going to do that on all 3 sides to both pieces. And that's why this is cut into 2 sections, because there's no way to get your 6 of these without doing it in 2 pieces. Unless you piece it together at the bottom, and I really didn't like that idea. And then you can set that one to the side and do the same for this one. And this is the Cricut paper. It is, and I did have to pick through 2 packs to get the sheets that I wanted because I had already used some out of a pack. Dusty Rose. It's the Dusty Rose pack, in case anybody's wondering. I guess it's still available. I haven't looked in a while. But guys, this thing goes together really fairly quick. It took 38 minutes to put it together, and I guess we've been really actually time of putting it together so far with me talking and stopping, what, maybe 4 minutes, 5 minutes. So it's not using again, doesn't matter. I'm gluing because when you start tugging on this, tape may tend to pop apart. Okay? Because it's going to get a lot of use. Make sure that you fold back all of your little card things so that they come up over the top of the edge of that. You can set that to the side, and the lid. And I did not design this lid, but I am going to show you guys how it goes together because it's kind of funky. I've had a lot of people ask about these lids when they're making those boxes. So you're going to fold all of the first score lines inward. And then on the ones that have the tabs on the top, you fold the top back. Am I right? Yes. And then fold it forward. And then I fold these tabs inward because that's the way they're going to end up going. And then I just fold it back out of the way. And the bottom one, the tabs come in. And then you do a fold over here. And then again, I fold that back out of the way. And you'll see why in a minute, because these get really tough if all of these tabs are in your way. Just remember, all the small tabs are folded inside. And to me, the lids take longer to make than the rest of the box, honestly. But they are good, sturdy lids. Okay, so once you have all of those done, you want to work with the lower tabs first. Yes, they are. And you're just going to take a little dab of glue. And I tried tape on these just to check, guys. It is so tedious to get little bitty teeny tiny pieces of tape here. And then I tried doing a long strip and sticking. The stress on the box, the way that the lid is made while you're putting it together, it won't hold. I couldn't get mine to hold. And I was using heavy duty tape. So you're just going to have to hold it for a second till it dries, because there is stress on it. At this point, it's still trying to pop apart from the piece beside it pulling on it. And that will lessen as you get further. Just keep bringing all your lower tabs. Making sure your corners meet here. You don't want to overlap, and you don't want what I call a tent. You don't want it like that. You need it in there nice and square. Okay? Don't let it pop apart on you. Keep checking, because there's stress. You can see how that's trying to pull apart. There's stress on it right now. But that's going to minimize in just a minute. And then the last two. Hold those down. Is everybody with me so far on assembly? So now all of these that we just glued down that have no tabs on them, fold them back out of your way. You want to keep those out of your way. So you have your little airplane wings here. And then you're going to place glue on the tab all the way across. And then fold it in. And I start in the middle. And get that other tab in that corner. And this reinforces your corners, guys, because your lids are going to get a lot of wear and tear. So you want a good sturdy lid. I would not use a hot glue gun, and I'll tell you why, Max. When you're using thinner paper like this or a box like this, hot glue can tend to get lumpy and bumpy and thick and cause stuff not to fit, if that makes any sense. Sometimes you can get it in there really thin, but sometimes it will cure before you're finished working with it, or it will stick in a place before you're done, and it'll be really tough to get it apart without tearing it. Excuse me, I'm still getting over being sick. Without tearing it or having to cut a new piece. And when you're using nicer papers or expensive papers, that can make or break a project in a hurry. So with the wet glue, to me, the wet glue holds better, and it gives you some play room and wiggle room because you can adjust before it dries. It's not that tape is any better or anything like that or any worse. It's just this gives you some wiggle room. And then the last tabs. And these are your finishing tabs. And they're just going to cover where those tabs that you just glued down. And you'll feel some stress on your paper as you go to do this. And it'll try to bow on you. Start in the middle and push it out. And you can see what I mean here. See how it's doing there? When I try to fold it, I've got that. I'm just pushing down and pulling back here to straighten it out, guys. And usually it's in large part to a tab being just off slightly, which won't hurt anything. Just glue those down. And now you have your lid. So let's come over here and we are going to go around. I just didn't do this when I did the other one because too much glue can make it too wet and flimsy. So I let one layer dry before I glued the next. And then you're just going to line it up. And this is how I lined mine up, was pulling up all my 4 sides or 6 sides. I don't know why I keep saying 4 sides, because I'm not awake. That's why. And then press it down in the center. So you've got a good line. And that's going to be the base. Okay? Super easy to do that part. Now I'm not going to leave it sitting there. Just want to make sure everything is fitting. Let everything dry good. Set it to the side. And let's start with layer number 2. Okay. Layer number 2 is, to me, the biggest layer, I believe. You have your lid, which we're going to put together exactly like we did the other one. Then you have 6 of these airplane looking pieces. You have a strip here. You have 3 finishing pieces. And then you have 2 of these. So I wanted my base, I think, to go this way. So that's going to be my next piece. I'm going to fold, can't decide. What do you guys think? Do we want to go this way or this way? Doesn't matter, I can fold it back the other way. Just with dark paper, sometimes I don't want to crack the paper and have a white area showing. So you're going to fold both of those. And I know that this one is going to go this way because this, even though this is in the same pack and it will match and it will coordinate, I wanted that to be what goes down inside the box to the outside. So, but you guys are going to pick your patterns and your paper and set those to the side. You can set all of that to the side. Let's go ahead and do this lid so that it is, it's going to be to the, that's right, this is going to be to the side. Yes. I don't know which, I'm going to hold off on my lid because I don't know which way I want to fold it. So let's take these pieces and you're going to fold on the score, and this is why I cut these face down, because I want my dots to show. You're going to fold this over, you're going to fold this over, and then you have 2 tabs that go up, and I'm missing my score line there. And then this one also goes up. And then you're just going to unfold it and set it to the side. Each one is going to look like this, okay? Mountain, valley, 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 okay? For those of you who like in, out and in. So either way that you want to, and don't pay attention to my washi tape. Be very careful taking your paper off the mat. You can see I had a little rip there. So just saying, you don't need the washi tape unless you mess up like me. And the reason that we did these tabs this way is to reinforce, to give your box strength if you did use a lighter paper or even the heavier papers, so that your box was good and sturdy. Because guys, this is sturdy. I'm putting a lot of pressure on this and it's not collapsing. Because once you get those photos and stuff in there, this box can get heavy. So I wanted to make sure that it didn't look flimsy when you gave it to your recipients. So we have all 6 of those folded. And take one, and I just folded it over and put glue on this tab only. And then I took another one. And this is another reason why glue is better. You have a little wiggle room, guys. You want to line it up and then fold both of them over and make sure that your tops are even and that it is on the fold straight. And then just give it a good press and move to this next one. They had in that other video about the same shape, but they were weaving theirs in, and that's why it was at an angle. And I thought I'll just leave it at an angle to give it a little bit of added strength. Just make sure everything lines up. And these don't have to be glued down 100% because we're going to cover them. Because this piece does not go all the way to the top up there, guys. So if you're gluing and you're gluing it up there in that crease, it would be wrong. And that's just so that it doesn't get bulky and pull it off square. You don't want it to meet up there. You want to give that score line some play. It does line up at the bottom. Those scores do line up perfectly, though. And I know that's off because I can see it. There we go. Still off. Did I fold that wrong? No, I just can't see. Still off a little bit, but I'm going to live with it. So once you've done that, now you're going to stay away from your tabs. You don't want to glue those tabs. Just in the square area here and fold it over. And you can glue on either side, whichever's easier for you. And hopefully my tape won't show when I'm done. I am just going to put some glue on this one and on this one on the last one. Not on the tab. Got that folded back. So I'm just going to glue this whole thing right here. Then I am going to bring the two up, and then we're just going to line them up along the edge and pop that over. That's it. Everybody with me? You need papers already picked like in a kit. Lorraine, this is one of the tips that I have given on several occasions. When you use a paper pack, doesn't matter from where, usually any paper pack that you buy, everything will coordinate. No matter how you use it, it will coordinate. So, yes, if you're new to making paper projects and cards and boxes like these, most certainly use a paper pack. It will make it so much easier in picking your papers so much faster. Trust me, I have spent hours upon hours picking papers before, and it can get very, very, very tedious. So when you use a paper pack, it goes pretty quick. So now you have this box this way. You can see I'm pulling my tabs apart. Doesn't matter if these are completely stuck yet or not. Just pinch them back together. Like so. And now you're going to take one of your decorative pieces, and I wished I had cut one of those in the other paper, but that's okay. I don't care if it's dark pink in the bottom. It won't matter. Doesn't really matter which way I put this one on, because it's going to get covered anyway. So the next thing I'm going to do is put glue on all of these tabs, all of them. And it may seem like overkill, but the base of this box needs to be sturdy because you're going to be pushing on it when you push this back down into the box. So it really does matter. And all I'm going to do is just lay that on there. It doesn't have to be straight. And I am going to start pulling these other tabs over and pushing it into place, squaring up the box. Okay, you can see how it is bringing it into a hex. Don't worry if they're not stuck. Flip it over and press down the inside. Okay, that's all you got to do right now. Don't worry about those bottom tabs. They'll take care of themselves. If you put glue on them, they'll take care of themselves. We just sandwiched those in between the tabs. That's all we did. Okay, see how mine came together. Then you're going to take a second one. Very important. Whatever side you want to show, make sure you're putting glue on the opposite side. So I'm going to have this one dark pink inside. And my glue, that's what, my glue is leaking. Give me 1 second, guys. I apologize. I was wondering, how am I getting so much glue everywhere? My tip isn't on well. That's usually what that indication is. Okay. Ugh. Messy, messy. I'm a messy gluer, but that was over the top. So, again, you're going to pay attention to the holes in the bottom down here and this piece. Very important. If you do not put this in right, you're going to have to start over with this box or this part of it. And make sure you go right down around those holes. You don't want this coming apart on you, and get your edges really good. You don't want those lifting up. And then you're just going to drop it down into the bottom to cover those tabs and create the strength. So now it's finished off really pretty inside. Looks really nice. Okay. Flip it over. And again, decide how you want it to go. Doesn't matter. It's not going to be seen. So I'm just going to, since the inside is this pink or this dark red, I'm putting my dark red down on this side, so if it just peeps through, it probably won't be seen, but just in case, it will be the same color as the inside of the box. And then you're just going to line everything up. Turn it over and press it down. And we're going to let that dry for a second. And I believe that I do want the dark on this one. So I'm going to fold, and we're going to do another lid. And this is the last lid, so even though it's tedious, it goes together. I'm going to just rush through this one so that you guys don't have to watch, because you can watch on the replay where we went slow on those folds. Once you put this lid together about 40 times, yeah, I cut a lot. I could not, for some reason, get this lid right here to fit the way that I wanted it to. So I cut it, I bet you, 15 times. Seriously, 15. I probably cut, I don't know, 45 sheets of paper, making sure everything fit right before I could get it to work like I wanted. Anybody who is not subscribed, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. See your name in lights? And that's what I mean by popping apart. Let's just hold it for a second. I missed what, I'm just reading while I'm holding this. I would not slide those in yet, Sue. You don't want, and you'll see why. You don't want glue on that piece. So that would be the only thing. If you could make sure it didn't stick anywhere, you'd be okay. I mean, we're going to make it stick, but not right away. Okay. Doesn't want to stay. Yeah, it's crazy, Jamie. But you guys know I'm kind of picky about how, especially boxes, how the pieces fit. I don't like a, I do not like a flimsy box. So, what has everybody got planned for Father's Day? Okay. Glad I fixed my tip. My glue is not leaking now, thank goodness. Okay, and I do have a little paper breakage on this. You guys can see the white line from where it broke down the paper or cracked it. You can notice it cracks on some and didn't crack on others, and that's because of the grain of the paper. So if that happens to you and it bothers you, because it does bother me, what I do is I take a Copic marker, alcohol marker, something of that nature that is close, very similar to the color of the paper, and then I just go over those marks so that they, you know, go around all the edges so it looks kind of distressed, cohesive, and intentional, and hides all of those broken areas. If you have solid core paper, you won't get that. And then this lid does fit snug. It's meant to, okay? So make sure that your lid is fitting. And then you've got your strip of paper here. And I scored this on, of course, the pattern side, and so I won't be able to see it. But we're going to go for it. Give me just a second, guys, to find my scores. There's one right there. You're going to fold. Well, I lost it. I think I got it. You're going to fold on those scores. There it is. I see it. And that is the width of these panels. Okay. Should be. Just going to make sure it fits. Okay. So it's going to fit down in there. So now I've got to decide. I'm going to push that back out. Just wanted to make sure I scored in the right places. And then there are two more scores. And they are mount and fold also, if I can find it. There you are. I think that's it. Wow, it's really hard to see on this pattern paper, and my lighting in here as well. I think that's it. Wow, I can't believe I got that. So just mount and fold all of those so you've got it looking like this for now. If you take a peep at that other video, they fold this out. Don't do that yet. Don't do it yet, because they even put this on here and they adhere it down, and then they're trying to fish everything into the box. Guys, super simple, easy way to do this once you decide how you want your box to go. So here's my base. Do I want this pink here, or do I want this pink here, or do I want the dark? So once you decide what's your bottom piece and which way you want it to go, and I think I'm liking that pink for the bottom. What do you guys think? With this on top. Let's see. Kind of like that too. Which one do you guys like the best? Do you like the dark, the patterned stripy arches, or the pink next to those hearts? The solid pink, the one that I have now, Sue? Okay. We'll go with it. Doesn't matter. And then I think I want to flip this one so that the dark is coming up on the next layer when it's opened, because that's what this one is. This one is where it's going to be opened. Okay, we got pink, pink, pink. Okay, and now we're going to stripey or solid. I think I want to do the pink. That way if the dark breaks down, it won't be shown. But yeah, let's do that. Okay, so now I have my two pieces. I'm going to move this base out of the way again. You're going to line up whatever's going to be your top tower layer or your next layer into the box with the holes lining up. And you're going to push it down in. Okay? And don't worry that it may be pulling in and stuff like that. It'll straighten out here on the next layer. Just make sure that your holes line up, because there's no need to try to fish this piece into that piece and then try to fish that piece, keeping that piece straight with your hand under there like they did. That's, to me, that was crazy. Take your strip and just pull it through, okay, on one side. And just let it relax down on the bottom so it doesn't slip. And then, oops, I'm going backwards. Put it on through your bottom one, like so. And then push it through the other one. And pull it out. Much easier, simpler, faster way to get that piece in there. Okay? Then you're just going to pull this piece back out. Don't let these go through, but you want to push this piece back out or pull it back out. If I can get it to cooperate with me. You really need 3 hands here. Just pull it up to the top. Okay, like so, just where it's on the top. You still got both pieces. Flip it over on the table and pull these up tight. Okay, once you've got those pulled up tight, fold it over and glue it. And you want to hold it till it's dry. And come over here and do the other. Oops, I forgot to put my other piece on there. Oops. Back up. Sorry, guys. I had it on there and took it off. Really doesn't matter. It's not going to be seen. Doesn't matter. This piece is just going to sit there and be glued, so it doesn't matter. You can put it on there, you can leave it off. And then I'm just going to line this piece up. Right over the bottom of the box. So now it's going to look like this. Okay. Now I am going to push this back down in while that's drying. And I am going to go in there, this was the little tricky part, and put some glue just on that tab. You could probably do this first and it wouldn't hurt anything, but it will make it a little difficult when you're pulling on it, because if it's damp you can tear it. And then I'm just going to work this back up in there to the top and let that piece dry. Just get your box where it's supposed to be and just let that piece dry. You don't want to be tugging on it any more than you have to. Okay? Now we're going to set that to the side with its lid. Almost done, guys. Yeah, lots and lots of swearing. Same thing, guys. This one is the very top piece, and I want fold it both ways. This is going to be the pattern that shows at the top for mine. If you want to do the lighter tone pink, you can do that too, if you're using the same paper pack. And these really don't hurt to fold them both ways so that they get floppier. Now when you've got your, you noticed that mine didn't flop down. I had to push it down with the craft cardstock one. But guys, remember, I don't have any photos on it to weight them down yet. Once you get your photos on there and it weights it down, if you folded them both ways, it should be perfectly fine. Just set that to the side. You have another strip and another strip, and then you have your finishing pieces just like before, and then you have your 6 pieces here. Again, these go together exactly the same way, and that score is a little above that tail right there, so don't forget that. Make sure you fold on the score. It goes together exactly the same way. I haven't heard any dings this morning. No new subscribers. Oh no. Boo. And guys, you can get this file. If you are a patron, you have access to this file always. So it's on the Ko-fi. I know that the exclusive tab says Ko-fi exclusive tab, but we didn't need 2 identical tabs. So I just did one to try to keep confusion down. So Ko-fi and patrons, and I just haven't gone in and changed it to just exclusive tabs, but I will. I'm working on that. If you're monthly subscribers, you're getting access. Anyone who is not a monthly subscriber and you want this file, you have to get it either on June 7th, 2019 or June 8th, 2019. If you are a one-time supporter. That's the only way you can get it these 2 days. as a one-time supporter. You can get it after June 8th, 2019 by becoming a monthly supporter. So if you'll have access to it, you just have to be a monthly supporter. But when you become a monthly supporter, you don't get just this file, you get this file and all of my files for as long as you're a current subscriber. If you are a one-time subscriber and you do it today or during the dates that I mentioned, you will get this file and any files for the next 30 days. You will not get any files I've done prior to the day you become a one-time subscriber. So that's the difference. You only get the file for that day and 30 days going forward on one time. A little bit off on that one. There we go. And I have a ton of files, guys. I have a lot of interactive stuff. So if you're into the interactive stuff like this, cards that do things, cards that light up, cards that have movement, cards that do fancy folds, I have a lot of those. A lot of boxes. And they're all at the low of just being a subscriber. Because you're not actually buying the files, you're just getting access to my files. They are design space files. I do use access images, so if you don't have access, sometimes you could be prompted to pay for something that you don't have. Those are one-time purchases from Cricut. I have nothing to do with those. But I don't like to not use them and limit what you can do with your cards. And boxes and things like that. So if you like personalized gifts and the unique stuff, you'll find lots of it there. And again, we're just doing the exact same thing that we did with the box in layer 2. So if you're wanting to do playback and you're wondering what I'm doing here, you only need to watch that second layer to figure this part out. Okay, just going to give that a minute too. Kind of looks like a square box, doesn't it? Now, guys, in their video, you'll notice that they had layers that went like this. In order to do that, because we have the 11.5 size restraint, yes, I think it looks pretty, but you will have to go so small in size with your photos, unless they're portraits. You're probably not going to see those photos because they're so tiny, because I have to lose almost 2 inches between layers in order to do that. So if you want to do that, you can shrink it down. Make sure that you slice one of these. Just take a square and slice it and get your 2 lines so that they are the exact same size and set them to the side, because you'll duplicate this piece. And then you're going to turn those lines a 45-degree angle and center them and cut them at an angle so that when you twist this, it sets your lines in the right place, like so. Because if you don't, you can see that you're not going to get that strip of paper through there. But you're going to have to lose almost 2 inches in size for your photos and from one box to the next to do that. So that's why I opted not to do it, because their box, like I said, is professionally cut, and it was like 12 inches across just on the base. So I had to scale this down in order for us to cut it on 12 by 12 papers. So that's why we don't have that extra little layer that they have. Oops, that's my solid one. That one, I didn't want to glue. That one goes on the inside. Da da da. No, that one, that's just my reinforcement piece that goes on the bottom. Okay. So, I'm gonna put my glue either on this or the tabs. You can do it either way you want, just around the edge on this one. I'll just do both so I don't confuse you guys. Again, these tabs are going to take care of themselves. Just put a little bit of glue on all of them. And we're just going to place our piece in there and start folding our big tabs over. Let it just push it into place. Flip it over and push down the tabs inside. I may have an extra piece in there and I don't know why. I'm just going to glue all over this one. Line it up. Place it right on the bottom. I don't know if you guys can hear it raining, but it is raining to beat the band here. Really bad. Line up your holes. Don't worry about the edges, guys. The holes are more important. Because my box is a little out of square, so mine's not lining up, but the pattern's the same, so it's not showing as bad as it could. So we're going to let that sit. Where did I use that piece? Did I just miss a piece and leave a piece in the file? I'm taking this apart to find out. Oh, no. I don't know where I used it. Guys, if you got the solid piece in there, I don't think that we need it. Oh, yes, we do. It's the finishing piece. Okay. I just got lost for a moment. Sorry. Again, you're going to fold these on their folds. I have a little bit of glare from my lights or something. I think I got it. Gonna test it just to be sure. Yes. And then the same thing. Wow. Really hard to see on this paper. Oh yeah. So you got same thing as last time. And how do I want that? You know what? Did I? I am debating, guys, what I did here. Okay. So that goes in, and then they did it this way, but we're not doing it that way. I'm going to place that inside. Ah, no. Give me 1 second, let me think, guys. I don't want to glue this together wrong. This goes here after and reinforces there. To glue here. Ah, got it. Okay, so you have 2 of these. You actually need to fold them both. Let's do this the easy way, so I don't have to find those scores. There we go. Okay, so do your handle. You can fold it either way that you want. Yay, we have a Ko-fi, new Ko-fi supporter. Thank you. Push it down into the box, lining up the holes, just like we did before. And I am going to put just a tiny strip of glue right down that center piece. Not much. Just so I can stick that down. And fish it through. And press down for that glue to hold right there. Don't use a lot of glue because if it squishes through, you're going to glue this layer to the box and you don't want to do that. Trust me. You might even want to pull up on it slightly after you've done that, just to make sure that it's not sticking to anything but itself there. Give it a second to dry and then pull it out just like we did before. Don't pull it all the way. You want those tails sticking out. Just to the edge. And I did it. Now you're going to see how hard it is to get those back in there. Don't let them fall out. I might get lucky. Yes. Whew. Okay, let it sit on the bottom and pull these up till they're tight. And a little tight where they're sticking straight up is okay because this box is going to get a lot of play, guys. And the more play it gets, the more this is going to loosen up. So you want it taut. And fold those over. And glue them. And hold them in place. Whew. That's the toughest part of this box, is not letting those fall through because you can't get your hand in there to fish them in. And I got lucky, I could get the points in there just enough to pull them. So now, here's the tricky part. I'm going to go ahead and fold this right up to that other score line. So this piece looks like this, okay? And I think I want, I do. I think I want my handles. I'm going to fold mine back the other way. I want my handle to be this pattern piece so that it shows a little bit better. And yes, I tested ribbon, guys. You don't want to use ribbon. It will rip the piece here. And now you're going to put glue on this tab and fish it under there. And you should have enough room just to get a finger and hold that to that base. Give it a second to dry. And on the other side as well. Just fishing it through, and then I'm getting my finger and I'm just going to press it up to the bottom and hold it till it's dried. All right. And it's not going to push all the way down. It shouldn't. It should be like this. Your other box is going to sit on top of that. Okay? So then you can press all that down and let it dry for a few. And then I put this finishing piece on there just to reinforce this bottom. Since it's going to get some tugging, just to hold these tabs in well. That top layer doesn't get as much tugging because it's the first layer, and you shouldn't have any problem. But if you want to cut a second one of these to put in there on this one, then you can, just to reinforce it. You don't need it, but you can. Then, now that this has had time to dry, we're going to set that one to the side and let it dry. We are going to glue this onto this base. Now, if you want to use hot glue in this point, yeah, you can. But just be sure that your box is in that center. Let's go ahead and push this guy in. Make sure that you got that box glued on there well. And guys, this is pretty sturdy, even with the, what is this, 80 or 65? I think it's 80, the Cricut paper. Feels like 80. Just give it a good push, make sure it's in there. And like I said, if you want to use hot glue for this, for putting that on there, I don't see a problem with that. And we're just going to let these set over to dry for a minute. Make sure that that's not gluing to itself there. And now we're going to do our gift box. Super simple, guys. What color do I want in there? The dark or the stripe? I think I'm going to go with the dark. Probably shouldn't. Probably going to have to touch it up with Copics, but I'm going to. Just fold your tabs. Fold, oops, did it not cut? There it is. Fold all of these tabs up on this base piece, your hexagon piece. So it looks like so. Those tabs go in. And then you're going to fold all the way from one end to the other on those scores that I can't see. Just going to work with it. Going to fold them all in. Did I miss those? I think I folded mine in the wrong place, guys. No. Yes, maybe. Yes, I folded mine in the wrong place. Do as I say, not as I do. It's actually supposed to fold right. The dips are where they go in and in the curve. No, I folded it. Yeah, I did fold it in the right place there. Oh, well. You'll see your score lines. I just can't see mine on that printed side. I did get that one right. Okay. Mine's going to have some funky folds in it, and I'll just recut this one. But you're just going to glue those tabs all the way around. Can't believe I missed that. But you can get 2 of these boxes out of 1 sheet. So I'm lucky there. I do have enough of this color left to get a new one cut. And on those tabs right there. And you're just going to let this dry. It doesn't want to stay. And just press them down from the inside. If you can get it to cooperate. Those tabs are really tiny on these, but I didn't design this one, so. I probably should have beefed it up, but then it would have been smaller and not fit because it's at its max cutting. Now, I did not, there's a score, I believe, all the way around here. I did not fold on that score, guys, because I wanted it to stay stiff when I pushed those down and let it fall in its natural fold. So that's totally up to you guys. But there is a curved score line on each one of those. And you just have to work them. And I just work my way around, just pressing each one a little bit each time until you can get them to break down into those curves. And just keep working it around, and you can see that it's starting to break. I don't know if you heard that pop, but it's starting to get down to that score line. Those curves can be tricky. I've tried folding them several different ways, and I just find that just working my paper and letting it do its thing tends to be the easiest. And once it breaks down, then I just start folding it in till it gets down. We're working it down to this point here. And that's why I said I probably should have put the light on the outside, because it will probably break down this dark paper, but that's okay. But it's kind of almost forming a star, you can see. And as you push it in, it will start to relax. Still have one that's not down there yet. So if you're cutting this out of foils and stuff, just be aware. You may have to, that point right there does not want to give. But you get it. I just can't get mine to give right now. Down to that point. See if I can pinch it in there. But work with it and play with it on your score lines to get it to break. And then give your pinch to get your triangle up here. And different papers are going to react differently. Some you can handle rougher than you can others. This one I had no problem with doing it that way. That may be my little culprit right there. Right there. Yay! Still isn't relaxed enough to... There we go. Start pinching them. Finally, and again, like I said, all of my little rough places where the paper cracked, I will touch up with a Copic. So now we have this base and it's dry. So now we're going to pop this piece back up. Very important, make sure that your sides are down around. And again, if you want to use hot glue here, just stay away from your mechanism because you don't want the glue going down in and go around. You could probably hot glue this step. I'm just going to go right down the middle and around the outer edge here. And then you're going to line this up on that. I'm going to give it a little push down just to put some force on it. When you do this, don't pull it up until you've given that time to dry, guys. Trust me, you don't want to. I'm just going to lift it tiny bit just so that mechanism isn't glued, if any glue squished. But pull it up with your fingers, not by this, because it can be damp. And I think I just pulled it loose. I did. And that's why I'm saying stick it back down. But again, you can use hot glue there. And then this box is going to go and sit right there. Your lid. You're going to fold it up. And you can, of course, decorate the top of this lid. I use the lid to help me close it on two sides. But there you go, guys. All done. Yeah, this box, I love it, but these curves are so tricky. And I'm probably going to cut it again, but I think I'm going to cut it out of a 110 paper because I get a better look with it. Because this wants to break down before you can get it to give. And that's what happened with this one. The paper is breaking down before I could get it to actually give in some of these places. So I'm not getting that crisp. So I'm going to say it's because the paper isn't heavy enough for this box. It just didn't want to break down. So you're going to play with the... So guys, I hope nobody's cut theirs yet. If you're going to do this box, guess what? You're going to need 110. 65 isn't going to work. Unless we reinforce these. Look. So that's why we're going to use the heavier paper. All that for nothing. Darn. I knew it was a test, so, oh well. You guys get the idea of how it goes together, but you're not going to be able to pull on that 65. You have to go with 110. You have to. It's the only one that's going to work. It's the only one that's going to be sturdy enough to give you that pull. Shoot. And it was looking so pretty. So, use 110 for your base and cut panels for your pretty. That's just the way we've got to do it. That's not sturdy enough. It's just not going to cut it. I was afraid that that would happen. I mentioned at the beginning that we were testing this paper, and 80 is not heavy enough. You're going to need either craft board or craft weight, which is 110. So, or this box is not going to work. It's not going to hold up. And I'm not too sure that I wouldn't cut a second piece for the base of this. So you may want to cut one more of those. I'll go in and add one more of those into the file for this piece here at the top, so you can glue those together and give it double strength. Now you may be able to use 65 if we maybe add 2 more layers. I don't know. So, but you see that it ripped really quick just with that was just 1 layer. So if you do 3 layers on this one as well as on that one, it may work, but it did tear on the second one with 3 layers too. This one had several layers and it still tore. Didn't damage the handle, but it ripped the paper. And that didn't happen with the heavier weight. Well, it was beautiful, so, I mean, it's not all lost. I could probably tear this out. I'm going to tear this out right here and just put in a solid piece and then use this for an explosion box. So I still have the lids and I can still put this in there, so it's not all lost. I'll just cut this out and then place a solid piece in there to cover it. Always something we can do. The 65 didn't work for that, but it'll still work for a explosion box, just 1 tier. So I'm glad that I wasted my paper. You guys didn't waste yours. So make sure that if you do it, yeah, exactly, Kathy. And like I said at the beginning, I'm testing the paper to see if it's heavy enough. I didn't know if it would work or not. I was hoping it did. So, but you can still do 1 layer with the pretty papers and you'll be fine. It's just not going to take the stress of the pulling on the bases. This paper is, you can see what tore. It's just the single sheets of paper because they're not thick enough. And if we enforce them anymore, they're just going to get heavier as they go up. That's funny, all right. Hey, I'm happy with it. Like I said, I will just take this right here. This is not lost. I will glue in another hexagon piece, and I've got an explosion box. So I can just put another gift right down in there. That will, trust me, that will hold a t-shirt, guys, or a onesie. That will. And then I can fold this up, and I still got all the gift cards and photos and everything else around it. So it's not a lost cause. I still have a beautiful box. It's just not 3 towers. Oops, hit my camera. It's just not 3 towers. So, yes, the poster board, Jamie, good idea. The poster board, that pretty poster board would be gorgeous. So, just because it won't work for one thing doesn't mean it won't work with something else, because you can see that it works perfectly fine here. And this has been pulled up maybe 20 or 30 times and it's still working. So I know that the file is good. That's the most important thing. The file works. We just need to make sure we use heavy paper. So I will go into the file and I will make a note in there and weld it so that it's in there to use 110 or craft paper or heavier, and that it will not work with an 80 pound, so that nobody wastes their paper. Right. You just don't, I mean, there's always a way to salvage some part of a project, Lorraine. I never toss a project completely. Just because it failed with one type of paper and worked with another, I can still use this paper in this box as a single. So if you guys want to use the decorative paper and just do the single, you can stop at that point and just put in a solid piece. So you don't have to do 3 towers. You can make a different box out of this file. Like I said, this will hold a t-shirt or a onesie if you roll it. I'm pretty sure that I could get a large adult t-shirt in there if I roll it, navy rolled. Or some socks or something. Get something in there. Ties. Still use it for anything. All right, guys, I appreciate you joining me. I told you guys yesterday that this would be a little bit of a long video because of the assembly time on this, and I appreciate you guys hanging with me. I am going to go into the file right now and put in there, do not use 80-pound. It needs to be set so that nobody opens the file and tries that because it, like you saw, mine didn't hold. But I am working on, I think Monday we are going to do some embossing and inking. I don't know that we'll do a project, but we're probably going to be working on some techniques and panels that you can use. So you guys join me on Monday. We're going to get out the embossing powders and the inks and show some techniques for that. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you moderators. Thank you supporters. I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a fantastic weekend.